All right, so we are on modeling linear inequalities day 1, and we have a few vocabulary words. So whenever these words come up, you can know what symbol to use. So for the first one, if you have the words at least in your problem situation, you will likely want to use the greater than or equal to symbol. So at least is greater than or equal to because that means you want more, but also equal to. So greater than or equal to. If the problem says fewer than, then you want to use the less than symbol because fewer than is literally just less than. It's the same, it's a synonym. If it says exactly, you will want to use the equal sign because exactly means equal to. If it says at most, you will want to use the less than or equal to symbol. Less than or equal to for at most. Because at most means you want less than it or you can equal it, but that's the highest it should be. So less than or equal to. If it says more than, you want to use the greater than because more than and greater than are synonyms. And finally, if the situation says less than, that's the same thing as saying fewer than. These are synonyms. So less than and fewer than both have the less than symbol. Okay? All right. Okay, so the next problem says, Carlos works at an electronics store selling computer equipment. He can earn a bonus if he sells $10,000 worth of computer equipment this month. So far this month, he has sold $4,000 worth of computer equipment. He hopes to sell additional laptop computers for $800 each to reach his goal. The function 800x plus 4,000 represents Carlos's total sales as a function of the number of laptop computers he sells. To the right is a graph representing that equation. Okay, use the graph to write an equation or inequality to determine the number of laptop computers Carlos would need to sell to earn each amount. So if Carlos wants to sell and to earn at least $6,000, let's take a look. If you want at least 6,000, you're going to use the symbol for at least. So I'm highlighting them both in blue so that you can see that we're going to use that symbol. So first, write down the 800x plus 4,000. And then we're going to use the at least symbol, which is greater than or equal to 6,000. Okay, so we want the Carlos's total sales, which is this function, Carlos's total sales to be greater than or equal to 6,000. That's at least 6,000. So you want it to be more than 6,000 or it can be equal to, but that's how you represent at least. Okay, are there any questions here? I'm going to pause the video so that you guys can get a chance to ask a question. So if it says less than 9,000, then let's first write out our equation, our expression 800x plus 4,000. And if we want less than 9,000, let me highlight what symbol we want to use. Less than is over there. So if we want less than 9,000, we're going to use the less than symbol. Less than 9,000. Okay. What about more than 11,000? So let's first write our expression 800x plus 4,000. And then if we want more than, let's see, which symbol should we use? Oh, this one. See, I'm highlighting them in purple so that you know that they're corresponding. Okay, so we want to use that greater than symbol, and it's greater than 11,000. And then last but not least, we want to see how much for exactly 5,000. So write out 800x plus 4,000. And then if we want it to be at exactly, let's see which symbol to use. Exactly is, oh, look over there. It's the equal sign. So we want exactly 5,000, make it equal to 5,000. Alrighty. So those were the first 4. Does anybody have a question? Let me know in the next 10 seconds. I will pause the video. All right, let's take a look at the next set of problems. Okay. So Elena works at the ticket booth of a local playhouse. On the opening night of the play, tickets are $10 each. The playhouse has already sold $500 worth of tickets during a pre-sale. The function f of x is equal to 10x plus 500 represents the total sales as a function of tickets sold on opening night. Use the graph of the function to answer each question. Graph each solution on the number line. So we're going to use the graph, this graph, to answer each of those questions. So the first question says, how many tickets must Elena sell in order to make at least $700? So if she wants to make at least $700, I'm going to do this one in the color blue. Okay, so at least $700. I'm going to zoom into the graph, okay? Okay, so for at least 700, I'm going to zoom into the graph because if I don't, it'll just be too small. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to zoom in. So we're going to find 700 on the y-axis, which is right over there. This is where the 700 mark would be, okay? So let's take a look at where it hits our graph. Over there. Okay, so that's 20 tickets. 20 tickets would give you exactly $700. Okay, 20 tickets would give you exactly $700. However, we want at least 700. So you want to sell 20 tickets or more in order to make at least $700 because the more you sell, the more you make money. So that means we want to take the 20 because that's the number of tickets sold. So it's 20 tickets. And then you're going to fill it in because you can sell exactly 20 tickets to get exactly $700. And 700 is at least 700. And then you want to highlight or draw an arrow to the right side, which shows that you can sell 20 tickets or more. Okay? So 20 tickets or more. So we're filling in the circle at 20 because you want to include 20 in your answer. We're going to have another example for number 6. Number 6 says, how many tickets must Elena sell in order to make less than 1,300? So less than means you don't want to include the 1,300. So let's go look and find 1,300 on our graph. Less than 1,300. 1,300 would be right over here. So let me draw my line. Let's see, where do we hit our graph? Right over here. Notice I put an empty circle on this one. And the reason for that is if we want to make less than 1,300, you don't include the 1,300. Less than means you do not include it. Okay? So then let's take a look. What number does this hit? It hits at 80. Good. And I see a lot of people private messaging me that as well. Yes, it's 80. So on our number line over here, we want to put an empty circle on 80. Empty because when you want less, like strictly less, that means you don't include it. And then we're going to draw an arrow to the left. To the left this time. So 80 or less than 80. You want to sell less than 80 tickets to make less than $1,300. Okay. I'm going to pause here, see if there are any questions. Okay, so less than 80. I'm trying to zoom out now. All right, how many tickets must Elena sell in order to make exactly $1,100? So I'm going to do this one in green on the graph. So exactly 1,100. So let's take a look at where 1,100 is. That's right over here, between 1,000 and 1,200. And if we just want exactly, we only want this point. And this point is at 60. So when you draw it on your number line, if you just want exactly to make $1,100, you only want to sell exactly 60 tickets. No arrow because you only want exactly this. You don't want to sell more, you don't want to sell less, you want exactly 60. So just the dot filled in, because filled in means you want that number. Okay, so just put a blob on the number 60. Alrighty. Let me pause here, see if you guys have any questions. All right, now let's scroll down. Leon plays on the varsity basketball team. So far this season, he has scored a total of 52 points. He scores an average of 13 points per game. The function f of x is equal to 13x plus 52 represents the total number of points Leon will score this season. Write and solve an inequality to answer each question. How many more games must Leon play in order to score at least 156 points? Okay, so we want 156 points, at least 156 points. So I'm going to write this out. I forgot what color I used for at least. Okay, I used blue. So I'm going to use blue again. So first you're going to write out your expression, 13x plus 52. Okay, so that represents the points the total points Leon will score this season. So we want to score at least 156 points, so I'm going to use the greater than or equal to symbol because you want at least 156. So you want it to be more than, or it can equal 156. So greater than or equal to 156. Okay, so we wrote our inequality. Now we need to solve our inequality. So if you were given a graph, you could solve it from the graph, but this time we're not given a graph. So we need to just solve it from the inequality that we wrote right here. And so when you're solving it from this inequality, all you have to do is get x by itself. It's just like solving an equation. There will be a few nuances later on where it's a little bit different from solving an equation, but for now, it's pretty much the same thing. So we have 13x plus 52 is greater than or equal to 156. Let's get rid of the plus 52. So since it's plus 52, we do the opposite. We subtract 52 from both sides. Those will get to cancel out. You are left with 13x is greater than or equal to, and then 156 minus 52 will give us 104. Okay, and then the next step is, since x is being multiplied by 13, you do the opposite. What is opposite? I can't talk. What is the opposite of multiplying by 13? It's dividing by 13. So you're going to divide both sides by 13. I'm going to finish up writing over here. So 13 cancels out with 13. You get x is greater than or equal to 104 divided by 13 is going to give us 8. Remember that in this class you are allowed to use a calculator, and please use any calculator whenever you need to. Whether that calculator is on Desmos or Delta Math or your phone, you're allowed to use a calculator. Just a reminder. Okay, so then we get x is greater than or equal to 8. So how many more games must Leon play in order to score at least 156 points? He must play at least, because remember, at least is the greater than or equal to symbol, at least 8 games. Okay, so here's our answer. He must play at least 8 games, because we wanted x to be greater than or equal to 8. I'm going to pause here and see if you guys have any questions. How many more games must Leon play in order to score fewer than 130 points? Okay, let's take a look at our vocabulary word. Which one is fewer than? Fewer than is, well, I guess it doesn't have a color, but I'm going to highlight in yellow because fewer than and less than are pretty much the same thing. So we're going to use the less than symbol for this one. Okay, so let's write out our expression, 13x plus 52, and we want fewer than 130 points, or less than 130 points. Okay, so solving for x is the same process. First, you subtract 52 points, or subtract 52 from both sides. Those cancel out, you get 13x is less than, what is 130 minus 52? 78. And then you divide by 13. So the same process of solving. Then I'm going to write my answer up here because it's where I have space. You get x is less than 78 divided by 13, which gives us 6. So how many more games must Leon play in order to score fewer than 130 points? Leon must play fewer than 6 games. Okay, Leon must play fewer than 6 games. Okay, almost done. I'm going to pause here so you guys have time to ask questions or write. All right, so to the next one. It says, draw an oval on the graph to represent the solution to each question. Write the corresponding inequality statement.